Well, an insight into my background is that I lived in Breda. I was a student, and at some point I started working in a record store. The record store was owned by the same owner as Basic Beat in Rotterdam. And at a certain point, the label Basic Beat was looking for label managers and people to work there. And I initially started with because I came up with the idea of doing compilations for gabber music. Well, everybody has its sins, I guess. But and that went really well. And at a certain point, I ran into Tiësto or Tiësto, and we went out together to clubs in Belgium like Illusion and La Rocca and those kinds of things. And so I started thinking about doing other types of music compilations, and I tried to get Tiësto to get Tiësto on board to mix those. That also went pretty well, and at a certain point we decided to start our own company just because we would be able to do exactly what we wanted, and we would get the actual benefits of selling a lot of music. And that's the initial thing how it started. So I founded Black Hole in 1997 with Tiësto. Initially, it was a platform mainly intended for his own music and his own compilations. But as time grew on, we started signing other artists, and mainly friends from Breda that we took on board. So like DJ Cor Feineman, DJ Montana, DJ Dazzle. Guys like that who were our friends, but who were also producers and DJs. And taking it a step further, international artists came on board. We did albums from BT. We were friends with Paul Oakenfold. So it developed into a fully fledged record label with a lot of artists from Breda and the surroundings, or Dutch artists, but also a lot of English and American artists. And it kind of grew from there. Well, how Black Hole came to be is, as I described earlier, is that we wanted a platform for Tiësto to release his own music as much as possible, without being dependent on other labels. We started out as a two-man band, so to speak. So Tiësto would be DJing, he would be scouting records and A&Ring, and I would do all the legwork from signing contracts, clearing compilations, even like shipping the CDs from my bedroom apartment to places like Norway, Israel, and things like that. And gradually, it expanded with getting, like an A&R, a booking agent. We opened a record store, but it kind of all grew like organically. So, we never had to loan any money, just invested what we made into, developing the label, making different sub-labels, things like that. Well, I mean, I think that the reason why Black Hole is still successful, I think, is because, first of all, we never really consolidated on quality. So, we've never really lost ourselves in a trend or in a certain style without looking, what was happening in the market or what people were playing. And from my own perspective, I wouldn't sign music because it sells, but I would sign music because it's good. Because there's there's a certain artistry to it, and I like artists to be artists and not just producers that can throw a song together. So I guess it's looking at signing artists that have their own identity, that make a unique type of music, and mainly keep nurturing those talents. So we also never try to make artists fit a certain type in which they have to adapt. I always try to have artists develop their own style and let them their artistry and their profile speak for itself. Then going into the thing, the challenge with Tiësto leaving, obviously it was a big challenge because he was our he was Black Hole's main source of income. We sold many CDs and DVDs over the years, and it was a big challenge. Funnily enough, there were a lot of artists that sort of like they got more attention when he left, basically because the attention shifted to a lot of those artists. So people like Cosmic Gate and BT and Jess, they sort of were in their prime, and it was a good thing that we could like really put our our effort in there. Secondary, I think what was more so a challenge than Tiësto leaving was the development of the music market, because labels back in the day you were selling CDs for 5 to 10 euros a piece, and that moved to downloads, which were like one euro, and those downloads moved to streams, which were like 2 cents. So it became not only a matter of quality but also a matter of quantity. I figured out that we as a company had quite a lot of knowledge about how to distribute and market and promote records. So what I did is I opened up the company to other labels as a distribution platform. We took on Ferry Corsten's Flashover, Robbie Rivera's Juicy Music, Perfecto from Paul Oakenfold, Marcus Schultz Cold Harbor. So instead of trying to make 20, 30 labels yourself to get more quantity in releases, I thought, well, why not hire all these, well, not hire, but why not work with all these great labels that are out there, but that can use a little extra, support to promote their records and to distribute them and those kind of things. So that's really how we survived, technically. Well, what Breda means to me in general is that obviously it's a city where it all started and where we're still based. I mean, sometimes people ask, where is Breda, Black Hole actually, situated? And when you mention Breda, it's not commonly a thing that they know. I mean, especially the younger generation thinks everybody's from Amsterdam if you live in Holland. But for me personally, Breda was the city where where it all began, and where we started making music with all of our friends, and where we went out and threw our parties in the old Massa and other clubs in town. I think nowadays, basically also because we're in trance music, a lot of our artists now come from the United Kingdom or America or Germany. So Black Hole has grown from let's say a local label to an international label. I think that's a good thing. I mean, I love Breda, but we cannot thrive on Breda artists alone, unfortunately. Well, I mean, obviously it's huge because it's been said during the panels. It's like there's something in the water. It started, I guess, with Tiësto, and and now there was Hardwell and Danik, and like Fedde Le Grand, all these guys who are technically all from Breda or like the surrounding towns. I think together, it's made a huge impact on electronic dance music in general. Well, I have to say that I mean, obviously Tiësto was the one that did a lot of groundbreaking things, like the first stadium concert as a solo artist, DJ. We were the first to record in concert DVDs with 25 camera setups and high definition surround sound and whatnot. And so I think, he sort of paved the way for people like Hardwell, help Danik and so on. So yeah. Yeah, well, I think it's important as an artist that you keep, from an artist perspective, it's important that you keep track of, how people are consuming music. I think technology is kind of secondary because, unless you say, okay, people are, consuming music more on their mobile phones as they used to do, at home, with a record player or a CD player. But as an artist, it's important that you keep track of how to engage your fans, and that can be on Instagram or TikTok or on X or hopefully Blue Sky, and I would say that's the key way to profile yourself amongst just making besides just making really good original music. Well, as a label, we're sort of enjoying doing like smaller events again for people. So, I missed throwing parties. So I said, well, I want to do like 4 events per year, for maybe 500 people. So it's kind of like a fun thing to do. The organization is doable. So that's why we were part of Turf. I felt it was a good thing to be part of Turf and, show our appreciation for the city. In 2025, we're going to be back in the mess in March. We're doing our Tilburg in Search of Sunset shows at the Theehuis, and something probably in the later half of the year. Besides that, Black Hole is going into its 28 years of existence. So it feels like next year will be another year where we will release artist albums from exciting artists, and we will release a lot of club tunes, that hopefully we will hear on festivals and, being played in radio shows. So it's kind of like, we try to keep going on. Huh?